the intro still makes me laugh. I love it every time.
Me too. Good morning.
Every time. Good morning. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. I have to tell you, I was giggling because I was like, I'm going to have like this nice aesthetic next to me under my camera. And I'm like looking down as the intro is going on. And then I look up and ours is literally the same.
No way.
People can see. Well, when we turn the cameras on to go to watch the overview of us drawing, people can see because it's literally like poem, highlighters, markers.
Oh my gosh. Great minds think alike.
That's right. That's right.
Great minds.
It's fall.
I know. I have on a long sleeve shirt and a long sleeve sweatshirt and leggings, and I am living my best life in these clothes because finally.
I know. I had to put socks on today. I was like, my feet are cold.
Last week, it was in the 90s.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
The only bad thing is we went to turn our heater on today. It did not work. So thank goodness it's only 64.
Oh, no. We haven't done that yet. It's supposed to get warm again here this week.
Yeah, no, it's like 64 in our house. So it's tolerable.
Yeah.
You know, but like Annabeth's boyfriend's supposed to come over later today and I'll be like, you know how it's usually cold at our house? Tell him that it's more cold.
It's more cold in our house.
Because he always comes over with a sweatshirt because we just like our house cold. And so we must keep it at a different temperature than his family's house.
That's funny. Well, I'm excited to get some windows open today and get some air going through. Although I feel like the air outside is trying to do me in right now. This is my time for allergies. And we've had 2 days of frost and I'm so excited. And I know most people don't get excited about frost, but every morning as I pull out of my garage and I look around, I'm like, yes, all of you living things die because then it won't make me sneeze anymore. All of you pollen spores and everything just go away.
We can't, since we got the cat, we can't open our windows like we used to because she'll climb on them.
Oh no.
Yeah. So yeah, she used to do that at my mother-in-law's house. So I'm like, oh yeah, screens. No.
Not gonna happen. By the way, this one makes me happy too. It's my resting witch face. But I think
you can't do that to me.
I'm so sorry. But I think my Doodle and Chat one will be here next week.
Nice.
Because it's ordered. So I can't wait. Because I want to use a Doodle and Chat mug on Doodle and Chat Saturday mornings.
I had to tell you, I also thought about you last night. I told you about the project I'm working on.
Yes.
I don't want to say too much here, but people can watch my social medias for it. Super exciting.
On
but
Tuesday?
I have to. What's that?
On Tuesday?
On Tuesday, yes.
On Tuesday. Okay.
Yes.
So excited.
But I have to say that you gave me a great gift because I went to record down here something and I checked my camera to make sure everything was good. And I saw the halo and I was like, I knew what it was because of you. So I had to turn off the above light, to get rid of it because I tried covering with paper and yeah, it was a whole debacle. But I was like, oh, this is a gift from Mandi. A halo light on my screen.
Oh, Halo, I was with you in spirit.
You were. I had to turn you off.
That happens a lot. That happens a lot. So
I'm excited for today.
Me too. And we're going to put another little spin on it that I love. I had a really good time making that one. So I really like to dig into current holidays to see kind of the etymology of how it came about. And so that was the sample that I made for this.
Oh, fun.
Yes, I love doing that. I've done that for the winter holidays, all of the different holidays that we surround what we celebrate as Christmas, which is super interesting. I have a whole escape room on it. And as I know, I do. I have a whole entire escape room about it.
I'm going to learn about it. I might as well make something fun to go with it.
That's right. But doing this, just learning about where some of these Halloween traditions came from was super cool to me. I love it. So
fun. And I'm just excited. Like, when do we get to call something a blob? Like a blob sketchnote?
Yeah.
No.
How often do we get to use
I know.
So funny story, because I like my pens. And my boss, who is a male, and I'm not stereotyping, males can also like pens. And my boss happens to like pens. He does like bullet journals and like he's kind of into that too. And the other day he dropped his marker and I said, "Hey, your mild liner's on the floor." And everybody else at the table, they're like, "What?" And he's like, "It's my highlighter." I'm like, "But it's a mild liner, correct?" "Yes."
Also, that's impressive. Like, he has a mild liner as a highlighter. That doesn't
I
even leave
know.
my creative table. Like, you get
Yeah.
your highlighter out. I'm not mild. The mild liners don't make their way to my
No,
classroom.
he uses it in his bullet journal. So
Oh, that's right.
yeah, and he has different colors for the different tasks and has a really cool, like, he's really good at bullet journaling. He's also really good at sketchnoting. He just doesn't do it as often anymore, but he would share that with us. I had classes with him when we were going through our specialist, and he would share those with us. So he's actually really good at that. He just doesn't.
It's kismet. That's so
I know.
sweet.
I know. He and I, we have a common spirit, I think.
Nice.
It is nice.
Just keeps checking the boxes. It's always wonderful when people that you work with do that,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Are we ready?
We are ready. We are ready. So I'm going to turn our cameras on so people can see like literally how our brains have synced.
It's so funny. Oh, and mine's a little too close, but
see?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, we're even on the same side.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is exactly how I had mine. That is too funny. That is too funny.
And we both had a Sharpie.
Yep. And something else.
Yes.
Here's the thing. I actually also have a micron that I could use. I just didn't get it out. But like
I wasn't sure if the Sharpie was going to be small enough to tip.
I could have also pulled my micron.
Yeah.
So, Carrie, that's why we should be together.
This is why you made me your friend.
That's right. I never regret that, by the way. And I know you were using this notes today from Sharpie, and so I thought I would use James. I might have a pen problem too, James.
Yes.
It's
that
also,
there's a shirt.
Yeah. Oh, that's
like,
a great shirt.
Like a hello, my name is. Like, hello, my name is. I have a pen problem.
James, you just inspired a new shirt. I'm writing it down.
Yes. All right, this is a lot of pens. There's no way they're all making it onto the Sharpie. I mean, onto the paper.
That's okay. That's okay. All right, so what we are going to do today, so we printed off a poem, but as I was explaining before, I actually used this as I was researching the etymology of what we celebrate as Halloween. And so that was something where I used it kind of as a note-taking guide and thought of images as I went, and I loved that. And so we thought we would try this another way this morning. We printed off this autumn poem, and we're going to see how we can do this with the poem, right?
Right, because we do a lot of sketchnoting just from ideas in our head.
We do.
So you and I thought it might be fun for people to see us sketchnote from words. And I think poems are they're so sprinkled with words that, encourage imagining. Song lyrics do that too.
Yes. Song lyrics would be awesome with this also.
We'll have to remember that for a different sketchnote. But we're doing something, Mandi and I both saw on Instagram, a creator was doing this kind of blob Zentangly art thing, and I shared it with Mandi, and we're both like instantly like, yes, that's the next classy. So we're calling this Blob sketchnoting. So for Blob sketchnoting, you need some kind of see-through. It's not called see-through. What's the word? Opaque. I get those. Translucent. Thank you. You need some kind of translucent pen. Although I think anything would work, really. This will just
I do too, as long as it's not so dark that you couldn't see on top of it. But think about if you use the dark ones and you can get those like white gel pens.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could do that on top of a dark color too.
Mm-hmm. So what the directions are is just to start by making blobs. So that's what Mandi and I are gonna do. There's no rules for how the size of the blobs, the shapes of the blobs, the colors of the blobs. Certainly, and we'll start, and I'll talk why we start. Certainly, this leans my brain leans to color coding the blobs, which would be wonderful for anchoring for information, but that's definitely not necessary.
Mm-mm. But you could, like, if that's something that you wanted to do. But for me, I think making the blobs ahead of time. Now if you did color code, so let's say that you were sketchnoting a story, you could have one color for characters, one color for theme. Like you could go that route with it too.
Absolutely. And yes, and then I would also add that, then continue that color coded link the whole year. Like
Yes.
It's always this color. Characters are always this color, because that's just going to enhance the color coding process.
And then if you were annotating your text, you could annotate using the same colors.
Absolutely. And I love this as like at the beginning of a lesson activity, like let's just sit for 5 minutes and get our paper ready with our blobs.
Yes.
Also, how much fun would that be to say in class? Draw your blobs.
I always forget mildliners are two-sided, and I just got really excited when that popped off. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot there's a small end. There's a small end.
I'm going to raise this a little bit here. That might be too much. No, it's not. There we go. James, are you still here, and are you drawing with us? Are you blobbing with us? I like that word, blob.
I also like the word blob.
I messed my setup up, and then now I don't like how it is.
Oh, no.
It's okay. I will be okay. I want to give these blobs eyes, but I have to remember that they're for something else.
Oh, that one kind of looks like the scream face or a foot.
So I told you that we turned our heat on and it's not working, which is fine. We're not like at dangerous temperatures, but apparently, and I'm sure there's a scientific reason for it, the basement is the warmest place in the house. So I dressed for upstairs, and I'm in the basement, so I'm starting to get a little bit warm.
James is blobbing. Yay.
I'm starting to get a little sweaty. It's not usually a feeling I experience when I'm drawing. I wish that drawing made me sweaty. Did I share with you the idea that I thought that Annabeth and I joked about? I can't remember if I shared this here. How we wish that drawing was like a workout. Did I ever share that with you?
I actually said that to my husband the other day. So no, go ahead and share your story.
Because you know how ripped I would be?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love it. Like I never think, oh, I don't want to draw. I never think that. I want exercise to feel like that. I'm sure it feels like that for some people. It does not for me.
Same.
I feel good afterwards.
Reading also. So drawing and reading. If I could get some cardio or some strength training out of drawing or reading, I would be so buff.
I know, I would be too. I would have a 6-pack. But then Annabeth's like, well, your mental health is really healthy, Mom. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
See, there you go.
I shouldn't joke about that because it is important. And I am lucky, that I don't have that struggle. So I shouldn't joke about it, I guess, either.
My health coach has been assigning me for homework self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's always like, what's your self-care? I'm like, well, I've been drawing and reading. And I've crafted a little bit. I haven't been able to craft as much as I have wanted to lately because I'm busy.
Because life?
Yep. Busy.
Well, you went to see the kids last weekend, right? Didn't you? Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, my kids went to see each other last weekend.
Oh, but you went on a road trip though. Where did you guys go?
We just went to Kansas City and hung out and spent some time together. Oh, one of my kids went with me.
Oh, okay.
Which is fun because, they don't necessarily like to go shopping with their parents as much anymore. And so it was really fun to spend some time with daughter number 3 and daughter number 1 and 2. So one had a wedding last weekend that she was in, and it was halfway to her sister's house in Kentucky. So they were in your area, James. And so then from St. Louis, they just headed on to Lexington, and they spent 3 or 4 days together. So it was really fun to see their pictures. And
oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was. They sent me snaps a lot. So my son-in-law, who lives in Springfield, is a huge Buffalo Trace person. And James will know what I'm talking about with that. But you can't just get in and take that tour. Like, they have a wait list of like a year at Buffalo Trace. So he didn't get to go on that tour. But he did purchase some. He did purchase from Buffalo Trace.
What is a Buffalo Trace?
It's bourbon.
Oh, yum.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually what they get him for Christmas. So.
Gotcha.
And I'm not really sure. James can tell me where that's at. I'm not really sure exactly. I know it's close to Lexington. I'm not exactly sure where Buffalo Trace is at, but I know it's close enough that they can drive to it.
Well, and for anybody joining in who's not James, and is wondering, James is one of our Doodle and Chat friends. He has been on Doodle and Chat with us, so he's joining us. He must be viewing from home, we're guessing. And Mandi, you know James from even before Friends.
I do. Friends, James, right? And I were in our Google Innovator group together, and he also lives close to where my daughter lives in Kentucky.
Got it. So that's why we know James. That's how we know James. People don't just like randomly pop up in our comments. I mean, sometimes they do, but we don't always know this much about people. I mean, it would be nice.
We just creep on James. No,
we do.
I am using fall colors because we are doing fall leaves.
I noticed that. I also noticed that you and I have different blob personalities.
We do have different blob personalities. Now I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to fill in the holes because I don't like empty spaces.
And I don't
Frankfurt,
care.
That's right. Frankfurt.
And I don't have a particular opinion either way about the empty space.
See, empty space bothers me, so. And James, if I'm correct, one of our other education friends that I know primarily from social media is Stella Pollard, and I'm pretty sure she's from Frankfurt. I could be wrong about that, but that seems right.
Well, I'm loving this whole just chit-chatting and relaxing and, bubbling things in. What a great opportunity in the classroom to see have kids to just be a little social before you get down to really having to exercise that brain,
Yeah. So this mild liner right here, this color is, does it not give me a color? It doesn't. That's okay. This one, I'm liking this color a lot.
It is very fall-y.
Yeah, this is a good color.
Another purple and need a blue. Give me a blue.
All right, what color needs to go here? Because pretty much all those colors touch in the same spot. I made poor choices. Let's see. I don't know. Does it look weird if I throw a gray in there? It does, because these are warm colors. Gray is a cool color. And Carrie laughs. When my daughter was getting married, daughter 1, we went and my mom was making her a quilt. And my daughter sent me like the color palette of her wedding. And we walked into this quilt shop and I said,
I remember this.
I said, we're needing like kind of an off-white color. I said, not necessarily like I want more of an ecru than a cream. And she kind of looked at me funny. And I was like, I need a cool color. So she's bringing me all of these like yellowy whites. And I was like, no, I need more of like a gray white. I need the cool colors. And she's like, I don't understand what you mean. I'm like you can take white and you can mix it with yellow and it turns warm, or you can mix it with gray and it turns cool. Like it's the undertones of it. And she's like, I don't understand what you mean. So I just went and found my own color. The lady at the quilt shop thought I was crazy though.
I think if you use that dark pen that you just used that you said you really like in that empty space, that's the one that would work.
Well, but it's also right here though.
Oh, is that the dried version? Okay. It doesn't look like that on
Okay, so maybe if I put one there and make it darker.
Or I'm gonna wreck your brain by making you do that.
It's okay. I'm committed. We got it.
Okay.
So
I just remembered the second step of this and realized that these blobs mess that up, but that's okay.
You know, it doesn't though, because you will have more space. You can write between it. So when I did this, kind of as a thought organizer, as I was researching something, which by the way, I loved using it that way. My original idea for this was to use it for vocabulary, because when I was in the math classroom, I loved vocabulary activities. Sorry, I was reading James' comment. That's awesome. Some people can see millions of more colors than some. I think that's actually true.
Huh.
Yeah, I actually think that's true. Some people see a lot more color variations than others. Huh. So it's good to know.
It is good to know.
So like I said, my original idea for this was to use it for vocab. And so you would put the word and the image and then the definition kind of around it.
Okay.
So that was where my brain went first. But then I used it for research and I loved it. Like I loved it for research. Because I also kind of think in images sometimes. And so that was really helpful for me. So this one is going to challenge me a little bit. So I'm trying to figure out kind of what we're going to do with it. So what are your thoughts with this?
Well, so step one was to make the blobs, right?
Which we did. And I honestly done. No, I'm just kidding.
And then I'm trying to remember the classy directions. The one-pager directions. I think the next step was to actually make these containers with a solid line, right? So
and I didn't do that. I wrote the words around it.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. So and you can make them containers, but what I did is I just drew on top of it. So I put the word and the image and then the research around it.
Got it.
Is what I did. So what I'm thinking about doing is just starting here and going through with the poem.
Okay.
I
think I'm gonna pre-container a little bit just to see how that goes. So we'll do two different styles.
Perfect.
And let's see how it goes. So I'm just gonna do something. Just gonna see how this goes. And so are you reading the poem right now? Or are you writing the title or?
I am going to write the poem in here.
Oh my goodness. What an idea. I love it. I guess I didn't totally grasp what you meant. I like that. Sometimes we just have to try it to know what it means, right?
Yeah.
This feels like this would be I think this would be great for any age. but it would have different purposes. Like for high school, it's playful, it's fun, it's different, right?
Yeah.
For the littler ones, what a great way to introduce sketchnoting.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
a little messy. This also reminds me, I have a student who I haven't had an opportunity to teach Sketchnote to, and I have him in a really small group. It's 2-to-1 ratio to teacher to kids, and he hasn't sketchnoted, and he already had his notes all typed out, and I was going to have him handwrite the notes and organize it on the Sketchnote, and I was like, oh my gosh, nobody wants to rewrite notes after they've already written them. And this makes me think of this for littles, of having a page where you could cut out and then glue the things in the blobs.
Yes.
To help them
Oh my
show how
gosh.
they can organize, or even like what you said, matching. Let's match the character with the color, with the red. Characters go in red, right?
I love it.
So, or maybe you've taken notes as a class and you print them out and every kid cuts them up. So the notes are the same, right? But
Yeah.
their sketch notes different.
Yeah.
So that would be fun. You know what? I have scissors. I'm going to go for it. So I'm going to take our poem, and no, maybe I shouldn't, because poems go in order. Should I?
Yes, you should.
Okay, cut it. Going for it. So before I cut it up, and while you're writing it, I'm going to read this to our people at home so people can hear what the poem is. And then maybe, since mine is cut up, you can put your poem off to the side.
Okay.
So this is for, here we go. James says, I need the poem. Humble dazzle of autumn, these leaves on the ground, each one a page in a book, a poem that says I lived. I was a small part of the whole story. This is my song. This is my glory. Oh, such a beautiful poem. So many thoughts are going through my head right now. I'm just going to give this a hard hold for a second so people can see it.
Okay.
Actually, I'll do this.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
I like how James is keeping us on track. It reminds me how, like, when you're teaching and you have this lesson and you're all set and you're ready to go, you hand stuff out and you start your lesson, and then one of the students goes, we don't have this, this, and this, or we don't have this, and you're like, you might need that. You're like, okay. And it kind of wrecks your flow of your lesson, but it happens, you know. All right, I'm cutting it up, James. I hope you saw it.
And I can always put it back on here if you need it.
Well, this is kind of fun too. With this is unexpected for the poetry. I'm finding that I want to cut it in sections that make sense, and so I wonder how kids would cut up poems differently.
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Where's the glue? I don't always know. Oh, you're so good, James. He said he searched it up. So resourceful. Bonus points. So what are you doing now, Mandi?
So I am taking each little part.
So you're reading the words, right?
Yeah, I'm taking each little part of this and what each little piece means to me. And so I know as I was thinking about this, I'm like, I know we talk about looking at poetry as a whole, but I think sometimes and probably this is just how my brain works, I always look at the pieces of things maybe a little bit differently than other people do. So I think what you're doing is the same thing that I was doing, except
Yeah,
I wrote them.
absolutely.
Very cool.
100%. Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool.
I also think this offers conversation about around words and how, I mean, we're getting really deep now, about how if we switch how things are listed or written, how it can change the meaning of it.
Yeah.
And how words on their own might give one message, but words together send a different one. Yours is in order, kind of, right? You kind of followed the flow.
I did.
And mine's more random.
Interesting.
Humble dazzle. Gosh, I love that phrase. They are a humble dazzle, aren't they?
Yeah.
Leaves. I mean, at least that's what I imagine.
I did a bad job with Missouri. I didn't get the angle quite right, but that's okay. It looks not like Missouri. Kristen, we did start with a poem. So here it is if you want to. You know what? Hold on. Let me see if I can just pop the link in.
Awesome.
After James already
had to search it up.
Search for it. Do I have the image link? Hold on.
Or I wonder if James could just, what did he search like?
Yeah, here we go. This'll do it.
All right. Are you going to pop it in the comments?
I am.
All right.
Oh, just kidding. It's not going to let me. Why wouldn't it let me?
Oh, James says that this is a poem called Humble Dazzle by Gregory Orr.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
Hey, James. So yeah, Kristen, you can use anything really. We just thought that people might find it interesting because usually we sketchnote from just an idea in our head. And we thought it might be fun for people to see us sketchnoting something that we read. And so Mandi wrote the poem on her paper. I decided to just cut it up. So it kind of is a whole other level of approach that we thought we were going to take. Because I had shared a story about cutting up notes in my classroom, and we thought, let's go for it. But I mean, honestly, I don't see a problem with taking what we're reading, and if we have consumables, cutting them up and using those to help us sketchnote. Why couldn't this be a paragraph in a blob, you know?
Yeah.
Or there's all right, now I have to visualize. Tune in to my brain. My nose is so itchy today. Excuse me. Like you said, if the things could just freeze.
Yes. As that frost is on the ground, I'm like, thank you, frost, for taking care of me. Thank you for making sure all of those little spores in the air are dying off as
Okay.
they should at this time of year. They get to live again in the spring, so I don't feel bad about it. But
yes, Kristen, like refrigerator magnet poems. Yeah, for sure. I
oh
didn't even think
yeah,
about that. Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of digital ones. Kids could write their own poem in the Blob, I guess. It could be Blob poetry.
oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness.
Another idea. Another idea.
And I realized that today, for whatever reason, I can't do different width of lines. So I had to go with the thick. I'll just have to draw small.
Oh, I miss saying goodbye to James.
Oh,
he had to go. That's okay. I
yes.
love having James here too, though.
Me too.
Couple of my, because I just broke it up by line.
I love it.
I'm having trouble with a couple of my blobs. I lived and I was.
Those are deep.
I know.
Oh, Kristen said Blob poetry, mic drop. Yes, I guess so. That would be it. Yeah. It actually would be, I mean, thinking more about this, if you did everything contained in the Blob, cutting these out and then, moving, I mean, that's another deep way to, to do poetry. Now, I wish I did more poetry in my classroom. I might have to find a way to use it now so we could do Blob poetry. With sketchnoting, I'm talking too much. Humble dazzle. I think I'm drawing my notes the right way. If I'm not, and I'm not, and you're watching, I'm sorry.
note. You get to do notes the way you want to do notes.
I know, but Annabeth, if Annabeth was here and I did my notes the wrong direction, she would be bothered by it.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. First of all, I'm very pleased with the colors that I chose. So like I said, I was using mild liners. And I used my autumn colors out of my mild liners. And I think that's a good choice. I'm very happy with it. I also like doing it this way. So the last time, like I said, when I did the one for the classy, I wrote around it.
Yes.
But I liked writing in it too.
Yes.
This makes me so happy.
Yes, this is fun. I'll try to be faster.
No, you're okay. Sometimes inspiration strikes and you can just go with it. And I like how you outlined your containers too.
Thank you.
That makes it look really cool.
It's definitely trippy. Like, it's so not the way that I would sketch notes. It's not how I would organize stuff. It's yeah. But I appreciated that time where you and I just sat and we had some moments. We got to catch up. And I think we often are so busy teaching content in our classrooms, which we have to because it's the nature of how it is. But even just 5 minutes of letting kids chill
and draw their blobs
and color
really focused my mind.
Yes, me too. And it brought everything down, kind of centered us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also kind of like even the little nuances that people forget that I appreciate about this kind of activity is we're sitting together. Mandi, can I borrow the marker? Can I use that blue one? Just a little, like, those kind of things are a struggle for some of the students I work with. And so even that small thing is a big thing,
Well, and then the second conversation that we had, because I love to talk about similarities and differences in high school classrooms even. And just the conversation that you and I had about how different our blobs are.
Yeah, yes.
And I think that would be a great conversation too. So because I would have done this with students. So if I was doing this in the classroom, I would have done this with my students. But then I also would have probably taken a few minutes to say, okay, look at each other's blobs. Just do a little notice and wonder about that. And then have a short conversation about what do you see that's the same and what do you see that's different? Just to let them know it's okay.
I like that. And what a huge it seems like a small thing, but it's actually a huge moment of permission.
Yeah.
To not only recognize each other's differences, but also to acknowledge that in this classroom it is okay for us all to create differently. And
Yep.
that doesn't mean it's wrong.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I'm drawing I mean, I know why I'm drawing pizza, but the pizza doesn't go with the aesthetic, but that's okay. I'm leaning
Part
into
of the
pizza.
whole. Yeah, you
Yes.
bet. And here's what's funny as we were talking about that, I was just thinking about how I chose to show a part of a whole and how you chose to show part of a whole, and it still says the same message.
Yes. And you're humble dazzle. We both did sparkles.
We did. That's funny.
These are also fun conversations, right?
Yeah. I was hard. And so I have a door that says before and the person's walking away.
Oh, okay. Oh, I wasn't. See, I linked up in my mind. It was all the same thing.
See, and if I were to do it again, I probably would. I was a small part, but I was just going line by line on the poem. And so I just put lines on there. So.
Well, you just made me think. I just realized there's that story part in there. Well, I'm also really enjoying how while I needed to finish, you took a moment to just start talking. And I think that's also what's really great about this is it allows us in the classroom to stagger a lesson without any threat of feeling like somebody's not working fast enough.
Oh, yeah. I
Because
mean,
we can change up the conversations, you know?
if I finished early, I would be so interested in what other people were drawing. And sometimes you look at other people's and you're like, oh, that would have been really good on mine too. And they go back and add to it. That's
Yes.
absolutely okay. I actually encourage that in my math classroom all the time. You know, when you're finished working, look around and see what others are doing. Maybe you want to add to or change how you approached it. It's great to see how other people think.
100%. And then also as an educator,
We all think differently. Like, I love how we all think differently.
agreed. And then also it just gives you time to walk around as a teacher too, which is nice, and give the kids words. Just a couple more leaves. One thing I really appreciated about this lesson, or about this activity was, hold on. Now my nose is running again. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I bent down over too much. What was it? Oh, that it kept me really compartmentalized in terms of like my focus.
Yeah.
Because it was only one blob at a time.
Yep.
So it wasn't like I had to, and maybe this approach is helpful for a variety of different students, having things cut up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that it took away from the comprehension of the thing, you know, like if we read a whole story and then we cut it up, we still think of it in a certain order. At least I did in my mind, you know. Yep. And I would argue that even though this poem is cut up, I still understand it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Kristen's saying like closed reading. Yeah, it totally is. You're right. It's kind of like filling in the gaps. And that's definitely a form of working on reading comprehension. But I loved being able to take each one and only focus on the line at a time, which also makes me think group sketchnoting would be really fun with blobs.
It would. It would absolutely be fun. So there are two different feels to this, and this very much fits how my brain works. But this is a very calming approach, and I look at yours, and yours is a very energized approach.
But I don't feel energized. I feel super in the zone, and I feel really, really calm. I'm really tapped in right now.
But for my brain, looking at yours, it energizes me. And it actually, yours makes me happy, where mine makes me feel more serene.
Yes, yes. And I don't think mine matches the vibe of the poem at all, but it's just so playful. Like, and I
love it. I love it.
It's almost like when you look at like a kindergartner drawing hands and there's 10 fingers and you just look at it and it makes you happy.
Yeah.
I don't get to draw like that very much. And for it to feel okay. This one, let me do this activity. Let me do that.
I love it.
And then there was cutting involved too, and gluing, which is another whole, like we could get into why that's, beneficial.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, this was fun.
Yes.
This was fun.
Yes. Yes, it was.
It's just, I'm letting it soak in. It's just flowing over me a little bit.
I love it.
I love it too.
How both of these look. They both make me so happy.
They're very, very different for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got nothing. I mean, I just feel like I'm just totally content, and I'm really proud of our activity. Like this was fun. As
Kristen said.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Blob sketchnoting, and now blob poetry.
Blob poetry. Done.
Oh my gosh, so fun. So let's do a quick zoom in so people can see our different blob sketch notes. I'm never going to get tired of saying the word blob. So fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so funny about how we both thought of blobs in a different way, because now that I see your blobs, I'm like, oh yeah, those are blobs. And they're really pretty and aesthetic blobs. But, this is me not thinking it all the way through, but it's just different, but the same,
Which is exactly what we want this activity to be.
100%. 100%. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy.
Love it. Love it.
Love it. So fun. What a great way to yeah, wow. I'm just so excited. I'm just so happy. I think I'm at a loss for words, and that never happens. You know that.
Oh my gosh. You make me laugh.
All right, Doodle and Chat, if you were here with us today and you blob sketchnote with us, whether you went along with the poem or decided to do something on your own, Mandi and I always love seeing what other people create while they're here with us or when they're watching later. Please snap a picture of your blob sketchnote and share it out on X or Threads or Instagram. And we're also on TikTok and
Facebook.
And Facebook now as well.
Facebook.
You can tag Mandi and I or Doodle and Chat or use the hashtag Doodle and Chat so that we can see and share with everybody all the fun that we have here every Saturday morning at 9:33-ish Central Standard Time. And we'll see everybody next Saturday at that time when Mandi and I Zen tangle and chat a little bit earlier in the month this month.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see everybody next Saturday and have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.